Hi, I'm Rogerio da Silva from MyExpert.Solutions, and today I want to talk about something that it's close to my heart, D.R.A.W method, D.R.A.W. It is something that I consider as a game changer. I have been working in this field as a quality assurance in software for about 10 years now. That's the length I've got my company. Actually, been working in this field for over 10 years, but formally with my consultants company, solo consultants company that I'm building up for about 10 years now on MyExpert.Solutions. This method I haven't invented myself. I have been working with various people in various places, and I've learned these from Rob Nightingale. He might be watching this video somewhere at some point, and others who have interacted with me as well in the past and worked with this method. They can verify what I'm saying, if it's good or not good. But I personally consider it really good to work as on the team task management in these examples, and I'm gonna show you what I mean. I'm using Azure DevOps, but it can well be applied in any other tools like Jira or any other tool that I use for task management. As long as you're able to configure a few fields, even if you can't, you can apply the method, and it's more of like a thinking process and the approach of how you tackle your tasks. This video is not intended to be a tutorial, like a detailed how to set up and how to configure everything. I just want to give you an overview, so we are on the same page when you see my videos and my short videos, and whenever I share something and then I mention D.R.A.W, you'll be like, what is that? And then you can refer back to this video. Okay, if you need my help or any people who I work with through my network to get it set up for you, implemented for you, to work with you, quality assurance team or business analyst team or your developers team or whoever, we can help get it set up for you. Just let me know. But yeah, let's go through it. Like I said, this is very exciting. It's a game changer. It helps with throughout the team get things like clear. People who work with me know how much I talk about one source of the truth, what we're working from based on what clear requirements from the use case. As long as we get clear requirements and we work collaborating from that information, and how do we manage that information throughout the software life cycle. As a tester, I've always been at the end of the cycle, picking up the information and rely on where that information came from, and that's where these kind of intrigued in me to kind of finding, like, how can I get close as possible to the source, and how that quality of that information at the beginning can, by the time it gets down for us to test, how can I go rely on that information and then validate what I have to validate as good as possible. So D.R.A.W, the D stands for the description. As long as we have a really good description, detailed description that the business, between business analyst and the business user or the use case come along, we need to work on that description. So it could be someone from like a business analyst or product owner or a developer who work on that information. Based on that description, it comes along the risks. So what are the risks around that specific task that we're working on? I'm not talking about the project risks or program risks. So I'm trying to go really narrow down to the chunk of information that we're working on. And it's for acceptance criteria, no brainer. Everything has to have acceptance criteria. However, I've worked in many cases, in many situations where acceptance criteria has been like neglected or overseen or not given enough attention. And as you probably know, if you're working in this field, the testers and the business and the business analyst, to be able to validate everything that's being worked on, acceptance criteria is a must, but it's still getting neglected. And this is something that I like to work a lot with the team, with the business analyst, with the business users or the product owner, so we can get a detailed list, one-liner of the acceptance criteria. And it's something that, it's a minimum requirement for like an entry criteria to be able to work on. And the work items. So the work items, it's a list of tasks that whoever working on that piece of information, one source of truth, that piece of a work item could be called the user story. There's a lot of things in here that we kind of, borrow a little bit from Scrum, from Kanban, from Agile, and we kind of get a bit of those information. So user story, that work item where it holds that piece of information. We have the work items, how we're going to work on that, description, risks, acceptance criteria, and who's going to be working on that piece of information. We'll have that work item one-liner there to identify what am I planning to do about this piece of information. So one of the things that I really like about these is, it helps foster like better collaboration across the team, enhances transparency as well. Everybody's exposed because everybody discussed about that one piece of information, and everybody, tapping with the discussions, questions, and get that latest version on that field. And I'll show you in a minute. I'm gonna share my screen, okay? I just want to give you like a context of what does that mean and why I like to work with that, okay? I think I not just think, I strongly believe that can help like project managers, developers, testers, whoever admin. Maybe you have a Scrum Master, or you have a business analyst who help you manage that. Developers, definitely developers and testers, the doers. I would say that those three doers, which is developers, testers, and business analysts, they will be the one who be contributing the most, but others can tap in as well, project managers and everybody else who are involved. So the business users as well, if you're working on organizational enterprise software, they can collaborate as well, keeping everything in one place instead of Teams, group Teams chat, email, and you name it. There's a lot of distractions. Let me just quick share my screen here. I'm going to switch to that one there. So I've got my SASE project there, and in my SASE project, which is my demonstration project, I've got some user stories there that I've been setting up. Essentially, draw is just this. It's very simple but powerful. I set up a field called description, multi-line field, another field for risks, and here's the list of risks, acceptance criteria. I have a more detailed what it means, like when I type in not tested there, or would have multi-lines in there of acceptance criteria. So whatever is discussed to be the acceptance criteria for that, this is where it goes to. And then the work items, it's what we're going to do about this piece of work, and then you have the to-dos there, and once it's done, we just type done, and that's it. So I would avoid and I strongly advise and push for not have tasks, but tasks, in my opinion, they are more like macro managing, and a lot of people don't like to use it or neglect, or they going back to the main thing for me is one source of the truth. If you spread yourself doing admin elsewhere and put information elsewhere, the one source of the truth of which will be this. It takes like 2-3 minutes for each meeting to go through, like, I have that piece of information on my task elsewhere. So I'd rather have everything in one place. And that's basically very, very basic. That's what it is. Okay, let me just quickly show you how the setup is done. Like I said, this is not meant to be a tutorial. This is just meant to be like a quick overview of what it is. So as long as you have admin rights, you go to the process, which is the main settings for Azure DevOps. I'm sure there's the equivalent one for Jira and everything else, but just to give you an idea. So I usually update the user story, the bug, the feature, and the epic. So we only work on those. We want it to work linear, very with smaller, fewer things for admin. So the user story, just got new fields there. I've got these post-release work items there as well, but the main ones are draw. So description, risks, acceptance criteria, work items. Okay, I have the equivalent to in the bug as well. So obviously repro steps, but I have that as well. So the risk description, risk acceptance criteria, work items, because the bug could be a work item, and depending on the project you're working on, instead of having multiple work items, you just focus on that one. In the future, the only thing I add is the acceptance criteria. Description is already there, and the epic as well, for like an overall program. Okay. The other thing that I like to do when I'm doing this is, let me just go back again to the board. As you look on the overall board, the other thing that in combination with the draw, and I can dig deep into this, is just an overview, is for this particular example, I have multiple columns here that these are related to this particular project. If you work in Microsoft Dynamics CRM, these are the things that I would like to set up the board to work along with it. So as you have these columns there, analysis, impact analysis, ready for refinement, development ready. The user story is not all the time assigned to one person. So at the beginning, unassigned to anyone, but then you whoever start the process of the analysis get that assigned to. So it could be the business analyst or the developer, and then as he move along, that user story can be reassigned to someone else. So in this instance here, in test, if I'm testing, this is what the developer say, well, I've done my bit, and I've got the definition of done for each columns here as well. As long as I tick the boxes for my piece of work, I'm passing on these to test, and then I assign to Rogerio, right? And that's one of the things. So the tester then complete the test and queue for release in UAT, and it moves on along. And the last stage before it goes live is the sign off, and then after goes live, then the sanity checks in live, then they move to close completely. That's like I said, it's a quick overview. I have the definition of done for all the columns there, and I have these on more detailed on the blog on MyExpert.Solutions. You can read it out, you can copy, you can use whatever is fine. And I have these 3 swim lanes there because if you're working on a SaaS product, there's some requirements for customization. There's some organization that pending any clarification from the users that you might want to have that separate, and some configuration are out of the box, so you don't want to make any configuration on that, but you still have some dependencies on oversee something on it. So that's why I have these 3 swimming lanes there. All of these are configurable, and like I said, this is not meant to be a tutorial. It's mostly just to give you an overview so you know what I'm talking about when talking about the draw. Each one of the states are configured to mimic the board, so all these options there, which again, if you go back to the settings there, let me just open a new tab there. You go to the processes setup. As you look on the user story on the states, I've got that set up to mimic the board. And so far, everything that I've shown you are manual process to work and collaborate on the task management. But these can also, if you work on a CI/CD or continuous development, continuous improvement, or pipeline, all the automated process, it can also be set up as well as an automated process. So again, if you need help with that, myself and my network of people who works with these, we can get that done for you as well. We can kick off starting with the basic process first, help documenting and training the people who are going to be working on these, and then after that we can let me just switch back to my face. After people are customized with the basics, we can gradually go and automate that process for you, from the development at the beginning and then all the way down to the release process through the pipeline. So there's these two pieces of work that can be done. and we can nurture and train everybody who are involved on this. So yeah, that's the overview I wanted to give to you. If you have any questions or any doubts or any burning questions or any feedback, positive or negative, if you think it's good, let me know. If you think it's not good, let me know as well. I'm always open and embrace any criticism, which is always good. And like I said, the goal of these is to be transparent, one source of the truth, everybody's on the same page. One of the things before I go as well that I really like about this is that it helps the team filter out any high performance people within the team. So the team started to kind of self manage the tasks, self manage who are more like dragged behind, but not like in a negative way. When I say this, it's more of like to support each other. So we kind of the team started to support each other. And if obviously it's not perfect, not everybody like it, but obviously as in everything else, so it kind of filter out that as well. So some people kind of say, well, it's not for me. People who really see value on these, from the feedback I've received and for the teams that I have interacted with, it was very positive in terms of resources wise, and in terms of quality wise as well, in terms of delivering time as well. It was really valuable. So to me, it's a game changer. So I'm really excited about working with these whenever possible. Whenever I can apply these, I do apply it. Even if you can't get this setting set up like I did, in my example here, you still be able to do it on your own. Like if you have, it's more of a method, a way of working and thinking than just the setups. The tool is just the tool. It's not about the tool. It's about like a cultural change and a positive impact on the one source of the truth, the quality of the information that you're working on. Kind of force you dig deeper, more meaningful way when discussing. There's less ambiguity, less missing of information. Like it forces you to think about why am I looking at here? What are my plans to do it? I am doing it, and then in the end you'll be like, oh, have I covered everything? Do I have enough coverage of what I was thinking and what the team expected me to do? So all of these things come to surface, and it's so simple, but yeah, to me, it's a game changer. All right. Okay. Yeah, that's it. It's a bit longer video than usual. I usually post like short videos, but I think you're worth sharing that. My philosophical way of seeing D.R.A.W. So yeah, and someone asked me like, "Oh, Rogério, you printed out your shirt like too much to to the side," and my thinking process is it's closer to my heart. Okay, bye for now. And if you have any questions or any doubts, if you want anything related to software development in any aspect, let me know. Okay, bye for now. Rogério da Silva. Fui.